Oh yeah, baby, that's the sound of Corona. Okay, hi, and welcome to Tel Aviv. Okay, I'm gonna tell you two stories right now, but if you only listen to the first story, you will not understand why I am going to tell you this. So you have to stay on for both. Okay, so I'm in Los Angeles. It's a Monday. I'm about to give my shiur, and I get an email that says your flight has been canceled. And I'm like, what? I was supposed to fly Wednesday, right? Anyways, I couldn't deal with it because the shiur was coming up. I figured I'll just deal with this tomorrow. I can't believe I have to reschedule after 10 months. Like, what a trip. Anyways, so the shiur goes great. Next day, I give a call to the airlines. Takes like 2 hours to get through to them. And they say, no, we've rescheduled you. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Because now, by this time, I hadn't packed. I hadn't prepared. I wasn't ready to fly the next day. And they said, yeah, we scheduled for you for 15 minutes earlier. And I was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. Anyways, I ended up canceling now the newly rescheduled one and rescheduling a week for then, but like, balagan. Oh my God, I was so stressed. So anyways, finally comes the next Wednesday. I get on that flight and I could not believe it. It must have been like a design flaw of the airline. I was like smushed in the middle of two people, but like it was so small, and I'm like not a big person, and it was so small that I literally could not get in, and I'm like sitting there with my like tray in my lap, and like the two women on either side of me were also like, we must have a really effed up row, because like I literally was like I felt like I was squishing into a microwave. It was just it was just terrible. So finally, I land in Israel, and oh my God, what is my luck? There's a heat wave. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. It was so flipping hot. Anyways, I get to Jerusalem to have a Shabbat. It's a nice Shabbat with my girlfriends, and then and then the next day, I decide to tell my girlfriend, we're going to go for a run. And mind you, I forgot that it's a heat wave. So we go for this run, and I come back, and I am not feeling good. I am really not feeling good. I think I must have heat stroke. Okay, and I'm like, wow, this is insane. The canceled flight, the flight itself, the heat wave. Now I have heat stroke. What am I going to do? So, so what do you do when you have heat stroke? Because I had a wedding that night of a girlfriend that I was so excited to go to her wedding. And so you drink caffeine to, like, it can help alleviate the migraine. Sometimes with migraines, caffeine can help. So there I am, like, having coffee, and then it's not working. So I try to lie down, and then I'm like, no, I got to get a Coke. So I get a Coke to get this thing, and the migraine, it's just there, but I'm not missing this wedding. So my other girlfriend picks me up in the car with her baby. We're going to Caesarea. So it's a 2-hour drive, and unfortunately the baby is screaming the whole time. Oh my God, poor baby. He must have been teething. I don't know what was going on, but like screaming. And like, you know, I felt bad for the mom because her heart's breaking. I feel bad for the kid. I feel bad for me because I'm migraining post heat stroke run. My ears are hurting, and it's just like, ah. So finally, we get to Caesarea, we pull up to the parking lot, and we get a phone call from her husband going, babe, I think you have a problem. And she's like, what? He's like, the wedding is tomorrow night. We got the date wrong. We drove all the way to Caesarea, and we got the date wrong. So now we're at this random wedding, and we've just driven 2 hours with a screaming baby through traffic. And then, like, we didn't know what to do, and I hadn't eaten all day, so, like, and everything was just like, oh my God. And then I had to call a rabbi to see if I could eat some food from this random wedding, if it was stealing, you know. Oh my gosh. So we get back in the car, we drive all the way home, she drops me off, and I happen to be staying by a friend's house who I had run into, and she said I could, like, crash there for the night if I needed. So I go to crash at her house, and I go to bed, and dear Lord have mercy, the chills and the sweats begin. And like bad, really, really, really bad. And then the muscle aches begin, and I am just like, dear Lord, I, made it through the last 2 years this is corona. Like, there is no way that I don't have corona right now. So anyways, here's the problem. I'm in corona in my friend's random room who she said I could crash at. She's got like 5 other roommates. They don't know that I'm there, and they don't know that I'm there with COVID. But I cannot move. I'm momish, cannot move. I'm in the attic. This is her room, and I feel like I am, like, sorry to say this, but like I feel like Anne Frank. I'm like hiding. I'm such an awkward position. The roommates don't know I'm there. We say, hi, I'm here and I have corona, you know. And then the symptoms of corona start getting worse, and it's coming out of the body in that very unpleasant way that we wouldn't talk about on social media. Starts with a D, you figure it out. Now I'm hiding from the roommates because I don't want it to be awkward for them. And now I have this bodily problem, and guess what? The toilet paper runs out. Okay, so now I'm with corona, dripping sweat, having this bodily problem, and I don't have that many people to call in Jerusalem. I call my friend who calls her rabbi, judge, brother, who comes to bring me a test and thank God toilet paper. But like, you know, when's the last time you wanted your rabbi to bring you toilet paper? Not so often. And it's just a balagan, and it's getting worse and worse. And now it's been 3 days that I'm shoved in this attic, hiding, because I'm way too awkward to let anyone know that I'm there. And I'm like sneaking to the bathroom. It's just a balagan of balagan. I mean, can you imagine this story? And then finally I call my girlfriends. I'm like, you got to get me out of here. It's not right that I'm here. I mean, I told the girl whose house it was, but she also was like, yeah, just lay low. We don't want to make them uncomfortable. Took a whole friggin' rescue mission of like literally 6 different of my girlfriends to get me out of there. One with a car, one I had really not eaten in days. I was barely drinking. It was a mess. So I was like, please, somebody get me juice. Please get me juice. And then I'm like to the other one, she's like, I'll get you soup. So one runs to go get me juice while the other one's pulling around the car in Nachlaot, while the other one's schlepping my luggage is out. The one that goes and gets the juice comes back and is like, Neely, I'm so sorry. I know you wanted juice, but the juice guy died. Baruch Ta'ana Emet, Uzi Ali died. So, okay, there's no juice. And then the one that ends up making me soup she's like, I'm so sorry, I forgot salt. Now, without taste and smell, you really want to have some food with flavor. So she's like, just try the soup. So I tried the soup, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't eat this. Like, I just couldn't. She's like, okay, let me go get salt. So now she sneaks back into the apartment, goes and gets salt. Unfortunately, accidentally dumps the whole salt in there, cannot fix it, brings me back the soup. I cannot take a bite. We throw it in the dumpster, and I get in the car. Lord have mercy. I mean, can you even believe this story? So now I go to my girlfriend's house. How the heck did I even get there? I don't remember at this point. Now I go to my girlfriend's house in South Tel Aviv because she has an outdoor area, and this way I can just lie on the floor outside and heal from corona. So I go to my girlfriend's house, and now I'm lying on the floor. My sister's laughing at me in the video. She's like, what are you, at a freaking farm? Are you homeless? She's telling her husband, Marcus, Neely's homeless. You know, she's just lying on the floor with corona dying. You know, God forbid. But, like, it was bad. So finally, now I'm like day 3 of lying on the floor outside in my friend's house that she just moved into in some random suburb of Tel Aviv. And then I finally go to like lie down on the 3rd day, and I need rest. And then the neighbors start sweeping their trash into my friend's yard. And I was like, this isn't okay. And they know this is a private property. Like, why are they sweeping their trash? And now all of a sudden they're like throwing bottles under the fence. And at some point I had said, like, please, like, this is a private property. Please don't throw your trash here. I had said it over the fence. And so at some point I took the bottle that they'd thrown under the fence and I threw it back so that they could see, like, oh, these people don't want our trash there. Anyways, that did not work out too well. They were not happy with me. They were very, very strong Mizrahi men. And so when I went, I decided to get up and go around the corner and say, listen. And they had just started cranking music because there was going to be a wedding there that night. But like cranking, not normal. And at 2 p.m. they did not need to crank this music, okay? So now, okay, let's just review. The flight's canceled. I end up sitting, I could barely fit in this tiny seat. It was like a balagan. I get off. There's a heat wave. think I have heat stroke. I'm, in my friend's house now with like corona. I didn't know it. We end up 2 hours going to the wedding with the baby crying. It's the wrong wedding. It was just really miserable. We get back. I'm now hiding in the attic with corona. I'm like so sick. There's no toilet paper. And, when you need toilet paper, the rescue mission, there's no juice, there's no soup. I finally go to rest, and now there's garbage. And now they're cranking the music. And I'm not like a yucky, I don't mind a little music, but like this is like crazy. So I go next door. Yes, I have corona, but it's outside and I'm keeping a distance of like 10 feet. And I say to these guys, like, listen, please don't throw your trash in my friend's house. And beyond that, like, I'm really not feeling well. If you could please just turn the music down a little bit. But there's a wedding tonight. I'm like, I know, no problem. Just for right now, if you could just turn it down a little bit. And I was so weak. There was no way I could even be aggressive. But these guys got something coming to them. And like, there was a completely violent reaction. And he's like behind a trash can, like one of those huge green ones. And all of a sudden he decides to just take the trash can and ram me, like full on. I was terrified. Mom is shaking and terrified, and I stopped the trash with my hands, and my hands, I don't know if you'd say they got cut up, but it really hurt me for the next little while. And as I'm standing there holding the trash can, he's just violently accosted me. The only thing I could think to do, which was way below my dignity, was look at him in the face and be like, yeah, you want to come closer? Guess what, buddy? I have corona. And I look at him and I go, ha! Not even that loud. I was just going, right? So now he and the other two guys are terrified and furious. Now, listen, this was a base reaction. I'm not proud of it. I wasn't going to get him sick. I was just like, the guy friggin' accosted me with a trash can. Now, the other two guys that are there are like shirtless and like low class, and like they start running at me with fists. Okay, so now I'm running back to my friend's place because I'm terrified and scared. And they're furious. And they run back into her property, and now they start throwing trash bombs. Okay, they're just throwing trash over the fence. I think they were throwing diapers. It was like, I mean, this disaster just doesn't cease to end. I call my friend. I'm like shaking. I'm like so scared because her gate doesn't have a lock, and these guys are like literally psycho. Okay, granted, my reaction was not nice, but they were like momish violent. And then me, I interpret everything as from Hashem. So I'm like, why did I attract this? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, is it violence? Like, oh my gosh. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm just falling apart, and I'm getting mosquito bites everywhere. And then it gets worse. So now these guys have decided to tell the entire neighborhood that there's someone with corona in their neighborhood that wants to come get them sick. Okay. Not want to get them sick. I was just accosted, and the only thing I could think to do was breathe across the trash can. So now that night, my other friend decides she's going to rescue me out of this friend's house because it's clearly not doing good. And that night, my sister's apartment had opened up for me because my sister was going to America. Fine. My friend drives an hour and a half from the Shtachim to come get me. And as we start leaving the gate, now the whole neighborhood knows I'm there, and they've formed an angry mob outside the door with their shirts covering their faces like this, and they have stones in their hands to literally stone me, and the guys are like this, waiting to throw the stones, and the other guys are in the neighborhood going, Corona, Corona, Yesh la Corona, and now the whole neighborhood, like, there's like 20 people waiting in a circle outside the gate so that when I can come out, they can literally throw stones at me. And they are screaming curse words like you have never heard curse words like this at me. Balagan of Balagan. It was like terrifying. My friend is now approaching the whole mob of 20 people being like, no, she didn't want to hurt you, that you don't understand. Anyways, it was really a perceivably horrible entrance to the Holy Land, and it happened on Parshat Shlach and Korach. So Parshat Shlach, I was like, oh my God, I can't say anything bad about the Holy Land. Parshat Korach, there's a revolution when Korach and the people were literally coming to throw stones against Moshe, so I'm like, oh my God, I'm living the Parsha, like, this is just awful, and like, my brain is a foggy mess, and there's 15 minutes of the first story. it was really hard. It was really, really hard. And it's the first time I got sick since my mom passed away. And, you know, when you get sick, all you want to do is call your mom and cry to her. And there she wasn't there in the physical realm, you know. Okay, I cried to her in the spiritual realm. But it was really hard. Emotionally, it was really hard. Being all alone was really hard. I had no idea how bad Corona can be. Holy crapazoli. Like, dude, that was brutal. That was mamish brutal. Thank God I'm getting better every day. But I really had to fight very hard emotionally to not fall apart. And I mean, I had a few ugly cries, that's for sure. A few ugly cries. But like, I had to like fight with all my heart and soul to not just like lose it and be just like an angry, bitter, complaining wreck. Now, I told you that if you were going to listen to this video, please don't only listen to the first story, please listen to the second story. Now that you're already through the first story and you're going to be on to the second story, I'm going to ask you to stay till the end because that's where the lessons that I've been learning come to play. So let's start again. So I'm giving a shiur and it's Monday night and I get a call before the shiur saying your flight has been canceled. Now, that was nerve-wracking. And I called the next day and they had my flight actually and I could have got on it. But I actually decided, phew, what a relief. I could really use more time packing. Thank God that they canceled my flight. I really needed this extra week. Then I got on the flight. And yes, I had a tiny little seat that I couldn't fit into, but after a few hours I went to the back and I saw that there was an extra seat in the back, so I took it. And not only was there an extra seat in the back, but actually when I had called earlier, the flight people had told me there's no kosher food available. So turns out there was kosher food, and not only that, there wasn't just kosher food, there was vegetarian kosher food. I never get vegetarian kosher food. Who the heck gets vegetarian kosher food? You're either kosher or you're vegetarian. You don't get both. And on this flight, the stewardess comes up to me and says, oh, actually there's an extra mana, an extra portion of vegetarian food. So there I am in the back of the plane with my own seat. It was spacious and I'm eating curry tofu and quinoa and it was just delicious. And it was really just fine in the end. Everything was all good. And as I got off the flight to Israel, it was a Thursday night, and the flight attendant looked at me and said, Shabbat Shalom. I was like, oh my God, she said Shabbat Shalom, and I had vegetarian food, and I got my own seat in the end. That's incredible. Not the run yet. Two of my girlfriends picked me up, special from the airport. They came to greet me. They took me where I needed to go, to my friend's house in Beit Zai. I had a beautiful Shabbat where I got to see all of my friends. And yeah, it was a heat wave. But the good news was I forgot to write heat wave. I was going to redo it. Heat wave. But I had air conditioning in one friend's house. And in the friend's house where I ate the next day, we had a fan. Everything was fine. So the next day, I go for a run. And I think that I start to feel really bad. And it's true, I do. But what happened because of this run? My friend that had a baby 8 months later who's really into working out, she's told me that pretty much every day since then, she's been able to go on a run again. So was it worth that run? I think so. To help a new mom get in shape and get back to her jog, no problem. The wedding. Now, we did drive 2 hours to the wedding, but I learned some really valuable lessons on this car ride, which is I really want to be a mom. I really, really want to be a mom. And a lot of times, I don't feel jealous, thank God, but I just feel like I look at people with babies and I'm like, wow, I really want a baby. And with all the crying, I was like, okay, Neely, thank God for the fact that you don't have children right now, because there's a lot of benefits to it. You get to sleep, you don't have to drive with crying babies, a lot of benefits. And we got to the wedding, and you know, it's the crazy thing, God runs the world. So they say that, you know, from before creation, it was destined who is going to be at every wedding and who is not going to be at any wedding. So even before you know who you're going to marry, the guest list is already known. I had to be at this random wedding at Caesarea. I don't know why, but there was some tikkun from before creation. And the fact that I didn't make it to my friend's wedding the next night because I already had corona, not meant to be. Baruch Hashem. Now the attic, okay? I was sharing with you my complaint that I was stuck in Anne Frank's attic in Nachlaot with I didn't know what to do, and I was hiding out from friends. But you know what? I thank God ran into this friend in the shuk who told me I could stay in her apartment, because otherwise I would have had no place to be with corona. Because when you're with corona and you don't have an apartment yet, there's nowhere to go. So because of her, I had a room with a fan and 2 beautiful windows, and there were trees on the other side of the windows, and there was a school there, so I heard children's voices, and for 3 days I had where to be, where no one was disturbing me, and I wasn't disturbing anyone else, and I had, I was local. Thank God I had a place to be for corona. The rescue mission, the epically failed rescue mission. Thank God. What could I say? It wasn't a failed rescue mission. It was when all the people came up and I didn't get the juice and I didn't get the soup. But you know what? 6 different women, or with the rabbi, I got toilet paper and a corona test delivered by a rabbi. And then one girlfriend even just loved me enough to make me soup, and one girlfriend loved me enough to go to the shuk and try to get me juice, and instead she got cherries. Okay, great, cherries are great. And then another girlfriend came all the way to come pick me up and drop me off and help me get there. And it's like, wow, you mean 6 people came to help me out of there? Yeah, that's right, 6 different people came to help me out of there. That's pretty amazing and sweet. So then finally come the garbage fights. As one of my best friends says to me, Neely, I don't know how proud you should be. You were literally having garbage fights. Well, it's true. I was having garbage fights, and that is beneath me. But what it helped me see is that I still have anger inside. They say that when something happens in the world, what comes out is what was already inside of you. It's not like because I was provoked, then I was nasty and whatever. It was waiting inside of me to be revealed, so I can see that I have work to do. Now, getting mobbed, honestly, was very humbling, and it really helped me understand Moshe Rabbeinu, because I am no great leader that took the people out of Egypt, but seeing how terrifying it is when people come up against you and they assume wrong and bad things of you filled me with compassion and admiration for Moshe Rabbeinu. And now I'm here in Tel Aviv, and it's been already quite a few days. Like I said, I'm on day 11 of Corona. But because I'm here in Tel Aviv, I can walk to the beach where I've just been lying in the shade every day, don't worry, away from people so I'm not getting them sick. And I have the opportunity to recover outdoors, which is really, really precious. Most people, when they get corona, they're stuck inside a room, and that would not do well for me, like emotionally or physically. So why did I tell you 2 versions of the same story? Because what I realized the entire time, and then I actually spoke with an energy worker and a healer and an astrologer, is that really everything in life, everything is all about our attitude. Everything. When I first told you the story, I wanted to make it seem like everything was falling apart, because it did feel that way. But as I was going through it, I also knew that this entire experience would be dependent on my attitude. And either I could see the whole thing as the most effed up return home back to Israel, or I could actually see what was happening and take my awareness and place it on the good in every single thing that was happening, and place it on the benefit of the doubt, and place it on what blessings I had. Because seriously, like I can't even emphasize how, if I would choose to see the bad in this, I did. I had a few ugly cries of self-pity, but I would just go to self-pity, and then that doesn't help anything, and it's not true. Self-pity isn't true because everything is perfect, right? Is God perfect? Yes. Are you part of God? Yes. Does that mean you're perfect? Yes. Does that mean every single circumstance in life is perfect and the highest way that you can be loved? Yes. So really, this whole thing has been absolutely perfect. And yes, it was very difficult and trying, but when realizing that all of the circumstances of our life don't matter at all, and really it's only about our attitude, very much helped me through this, because this is a general struggle and thing I'm working through lately in life, of realizing that everything in my life, my entire reality exists between here and here in my mind, and I am the only one that can choose which thoughts to think and can choose where to place my awareness. And so I know a lot of people have been going through crazy corona, and just in life we all go through so many different circumstances. And really what I wanted to share is that it is always and completely up to us whether or not we're going to sink in self-pity and see the bad and find the bad, because it's there, it's available. You can see and live the curse in every day of life. Or you could say, hey, listen, I am the only one that determines my experience of my life, and I'm going to choose to believe this is perfect, and I'm going to choose to see the other side, because there always is a blessing side. There always is a blessing side, and you can find it, and you must find it, because if you don't, then your only alternative is misery. And I've been there, and I've lived there for too many years, and I'm not going to live there anymore in the misery. And so this means choosing a good attitude. And it's really as simple as that. There's no tricks. It's just coming back to the moment and realizing that everything is perfect, and then seeking gratitude for the difficult experiences. And I know this sounds perhaps trite or simple, but it's been pretty revolutionary for me to know through this really difficult last 13 days or last couple weeks that it was really up to me how I was going to go through this. So, you know, I'm getting a little better every day. I did not know that it was going to take so long, and also the surrender to not productivity, not being able to do anything, not having a brain. I really wanted to record this video like every day, but the brain is really, really fuzzy with corona, so this is my best shot so far. And I just really thank Hashem, because, you know, Hashem knew that I needed these last. I was so excited to come back and see everybody and do everything and go everywhere and find my new apartment and find my husband and find my new car and all the things. And Hashem's like, no, none of that's the best for you. What's best for you is to sit there and do absolutely nothing. Mamish nothing. Not work. I couldn't work. You know, my brain's like fuzzy. You know, as a therapist, you need sharp brain, not fuzzy brain. So just thank you, Hashem, for this incredibly difficult, perfect series of blessings. And yeah, you know, everybody comes to their own realizations in their own time. It took me 38 years, but I really thank Hashem for realizing that my attitude is completely on me. And either it's going to be a good attitude and then I'll make it through well, or I will have a bad attitude and I will complain and I will be bitter, and then I will complain and be bitter, and I won't be very pleasant to be around, and I won't even be living in reality, because the reality is that everything is perfect. So I hope that this story was impactful for you. I know this is a long video. And I just bless all of us, because all of us are going through trying things most times, right? Sometimes there's easy rides and easy waves and easy weeks and awesome weeks even, please God. But if you are going through any trying circumstance, whether you're married or it's with your children or your finances, or you're just completely lost and alone like me, I bless us to just keep choosing a good attitude, because that's the only choice where you win. So we're winning. We got this. Thank you for listening. And l'chaim, to Hashem's perfection. And please God, may we all encourage each other and reinforce to continue to choose a good attitude and to continue to see the blessings in every perfect moment in Hashem's perfect kingdom. Peace and homies. For Shlema to everybody.